Welcome back. In our last lesson, we explored the essential dynamics of devised theater and glimpsed at how it could serve as a nurturing space for education. Like most collaborative efforts, the process of devising is made up of different fun and engaging group activities designed to explore the interests, questions, views, and voices of the participants. Devised theater has become more mainstream as different groups are drawn to the creative potential of expressing ideas artistically. Martine K. Green Rogers has a wonderful article in the Theatre Times on devised theater. She explains that through a series of improv theater games or other conceptual icebreakers, the participants start to tease out the kinds of stories they'd like to tell and the way they'd like to tell them. Over time, a text emerges, one covered with fingerprints of each and every participant. So how can you help tease out these stories or make these connections in the classroom? Without creating a specific set of rules that would contradict the nature of devising, I can share some characteristics that are common and helpful to look for in devised work. In devised theater, there is a commitment to multiple perspectives. So sometimes devised theater looks more like a collage, held together by a thematic through line and not necessarily a linear narrative. Devised work also relies on multiple ways of expression, meaning that it assigns equal importance to the movement, sound, and visual technologies that it would usually be given to the text. Breaking away from a singular authorial line allows for all participants, including the audience, to find space for themselves within the work, the space for the unknown, the incomplete, the liminal space. Let's go back to the concept of the teacher as a liminal servant and how devised theater can offer a fertile ground for productive, critical pedagogies. Mia Perry explains how these pedagogies seek to challenge the binary nature of our society and educational systems. It is a thinking that recognizes that there is a partial element to all knowledge, so that students are seen as learning selves in motion. So, from Maslow's constant state of becoming, to Freire's knowledge in the making, to Wilde's critic as artist, we see the cohesive line that devised theater, creative agency, and critical pedagogy create together, a space for learning selves in motion. Devised theater is a form of critical pedagogy. One of the best ways to get started as a teacher deviser is to first use your own creative agency to determine the potential of your human resources. This is aligned with differentiated teaching. How can you adapt content, process, and product to make sure that each individual student has access to the learning journey, considering their different starting points, skills, and challenges? Devising is the perfect playground to integrate differentiated learning with a common goal. What natural talents or inclinations are there already in the room? What interesting intersections can you make if you suggest the natural artist make a storyboard of a historical event, while a percussionist creates the atmosphere, a tap dancer the beat, and the sound engineer mixes a recording of different narrations, while the images are projected on the walls? Would that not create a direct link between students' creative agency, critical thinking, and content? Would that not make the facts jump out of the page where your students will be able to touch them and own them? And don't worry, you don't need performance virtuosos in your classrooms. There's always something that draws your students' attention. It could be sports, comic books, pets, or a music genre. Enjoying these activities is the way in which your students are channeling their self-expression values. How can they be incorporated? In such a rich environment for possibility, the liminal servant role of the teacher becomes crucial. As an educator, you must become a teacher deviser, a facilitator who understands the partial or incomplete quality of the learning self in motion, ever-changing and free in collaboration with others. In our last lesson, I talked about the director as a detective, explorer, scientist. This is also the teacher deviser. Ask yourself, where are the points in common? What's the underlying subtext of all of these experiences? How can Jimmy's saxophone playing come into all this? And Sarah's drawing abilities, Pedro's singing, and Teresa's passion for origami. How can these expressions speak, transform, and advance each other through the lens of common questions? The liminal servant is constantly watering the grounds for discovery. To bring the benefits of this process into the classroom, after looking at your students' special talents, hobbies, or skills, you can look at their other areas of interest and the issues they're concerned about. Essentially, what do they want to say? What are the conversations that they want to have? Keep in mind that they might not consciously know, which is why improvising in the space with movement through some of the exercises like the art gallery and building blocks for devising, which you'll find in the activity section of this course, will be helpful for them to discover the topics or expressive values that they're drawn to. This personal relationship creates genuine ownership. As a liminal servant, you must be in constant awareness of the connections and intersections that will reveal themselves. What interesting pairings can you make between skills, issues, questions, and interests? Within any devised theater process, there are 3 key moments: the exploration of the topic and creation of the performance text, the rehearsal and evolution of the performance text until a result is reached, and finally, the presentation of the work to an audience. This exchange with the audience will likely bring new changes to the performance, and so the evolution and devising continues. So, to put it all together, picture this. You're teaching 5th grade science, classification of animals and different animal habitats, solar system and beyond, states of matter, solid, liquid, gas, water cycle and weather, etc. First, throw the seed. Introduce the topic. This could be a regular explanation, a story, a film, or a case story. Whatever way that will give a general sense of what you want to teach. Let's say in this case, the essence might be cyclic transformations. Watch where it lands. Ask your students to bring elements and references to the topic that are also linked to their own areas of interest, talents, questions, or skills. For example, a comic fan may bring a story about Storm from the X-Men. A musician may bring a recording of Vivaldi's Four Seasons. A sports aficionado may bring a poster of different climate or environment-related sports like surfing for water, skiing, snow, golf, field, beach volleyball, sand, etc. Next, water the ground. From their starting points, propose different physical exploration activities and games. How would the content look within their selected interests? How does climate change affect sports? What does the variation in instruments, tempo, and melody tell us about the transformations in the seasons? What actual natural elements does Storm need to manipulate to make it rain? This may lead to different improv scenes that can be transferred to other media, a drawing, a song, a poem, or a fully developed scene. Gather the crops. What do all the resulting artistic expressions have in common? Do they complement each other? Can Storm become the narrator of a football game that's going on under extreme weather conditions, expressed through different types of music? What different perspectives does each bring? Next, bring it home. How does this content and this narrative relate to our daily lives? What would we say to Storm about climate change? How can we help her? What's the story hidden underneath the blending of topic, interest, exploration, and their own reality? Maybe it's a short play, maybe it's an art exhibition, maybe it's a graphic novel. Then prep the meal. Rehearse and revisit the narrative, introducing and developing content while linking it to the creative findings. Add layers. Discuss. Let your students make their own connections as they work together towards a goal. Determine new tasks to put it together. Do you need costumes, makeup, props? All the special interests come into play to physically make the devised piece and watch the content, and critical thinking also grow through this process. Finally, host a dinner party. Invite parents and the rest of the school to participate and watch the results of the journey. Have conversations with them and let the students visualize and sense the impact of their work. Are there any practical results that can be taken further? Maybe the students were inspired to create a climate watch team dedicated to eco-awareness initiatives, or a gardening group that wants to look after and plant green spaces on campus. All these other products continue to be tied to your content and the devising journey. Can you see the possibilities? Taking this approach can result in beautiful surprises. Earlier this year, I led an intensive workshop on audiovisual and theatrical collective creation. In other words, devised theater. The group was varied. I had participants ranging from 17 to 37 years of age. While coming up with our story, it transpired that the youngest girl, very quiet and reserved, had an amazing talent for drawing cartoons. The oldest participant, the 37-year-old, had been on a journey, experimenting with artistic makeup design as a way to connect with himself. All of these talents contributed to the substance and shape of the story we created. A tale of transformation through art in which a sailor discovers how to exist in both land and sea, his inner and outer worlds. In the performance, the 37-year-old delivered a monologue while creating a makeup design at the same time that the young cartoonist was drawing the scene, and the rest of the group built many origami boats. The scene revealed the way the artist critic is born, the boat that allows us to travel in between these worlds, land and sea, inner and outer worlds. Our self-expression values connecting with others through the liminal space of art. As shared by the participants, the poetic power of the experience was palpable. In the last discussion we had as a group, they described their main takeaways from the experience using words like inspiration, creation, peace, community, harmony, possibility, happiness, action, and love. They felt empowered to continue developing their talents and interest, knowing that these were their own boats, their expressive doorways to manifest their creative agency and connect with others. They conspired to create a common boat that would carry them all. One of the definitions of the word conspire is to act in harmony towards a common end, and its roots come from the Latin to breathe together. Remember that this process takes cooperation. When ideas are birthed in the collective, there is no room for ego. This is a natural discovery for each individual. Once, a director told the cast I was in the theater, we are all important, but we are all replaceable. Although at the time it sounded quite harsh, we understood the grounding truth of his words. The world will go on without us, and it is our privilege to contribute, giving each other purpose and meaning. Very soon we understand the moments when we need to let go of ideas and embrace those of others, and how to listen, as I sometimes jokingly say, in surround sound, which means listening to others and to everything, the verbal and the nonverbal, while never losing track of our own internal voice. This intricate relationship with the environment allows us to understand and visualize how to harmoniously weave our voice within the whole. An exercise like the Forest of Mirrors included in this course is ideal to train that balance of power within your students. Devised theater can be incredibly transformative in young people's lives. Even if you aren't creating a whole play, you can still use the principles and exercises of devised theater in your classroom, project, or activity by embracing the role of the liminal servant, the artist critic, and the teacher deviser. You create a safe space for your students to gain confidence and competence to thrive. Devised theater allows participants to sit with the fear of the unknown, trust the process, and say whatever they need to say. It gives them the time and space to find and follow their creative agency. This is a risky process. Like my friend crying backstage all those years ago, it requires a journey to be our authentic selves in harmony with the world and our community. The journey of holistic well-being is laced with values of self-knowing and self-expression. Through this lens, it is almost impossible to separate critical pedagogy, fulfilling education, holistic well-being, and creative agency. I truly hope you find these insights useful for your life and your classroom. At the end of the day, nurturing a sense of agency in your students means helping them see things as they are with the vision and confidence to value and transform them into what they can be and be amazed in the process, knowing that everything that we choose to put on a stage, including ourselves, is there for a reason, and that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Take what you get and make it what you need. I'm Anna O'Callaghan, theatre maker and teacher. Thank you for taking this journey with me into the power of devising tools for creative agency. I can't wait to see you again in another course. Until next time.